What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Sunday afternoon, and we are here to talk about last night's AEW Grand Slam show from Sydney, Australia. It's basically a free pay per view on TV going into it. Um, there is a lot to take away from the show. Um, it was nearly not as good as Wednesday's Dynamite was, but I thought it was a really good show. And it was simple. It was just simple and effective. And, sometimes when the quality is good, a simple, predictable show can be very good still. And this was still a really good show. Now, there's absolutely things that I did not like. I didn't like the debut of Lena Cross. I wow, that was one of the more underwhelming debuts in AEW history, if I can ever remember. Um, and we will get to that after the opener. That um, I don't know if it was me, but I thought the crowd. I don't know what was going on in the crowd because sometimes it felt like this, like they were talking underwater. Like I don't know if you guys heard me there, but that's literally how it sounded for some of the show. Like you literally couldn't hear the ring announcer because the volume was so low. The crowd, like I don't know the reaction from the live crowd. I have barely been on social media in the last 2 days because I wanted to prevent spoilers from this show. I was only spoiled about one thing, and it was Wheeler Yuta getting his hair shaved, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of back and forth on social media about the show. From the hair versus hair match, a lot of intergender wrestling. Yeah, we'll get to that. Um, and from what I've seen, a lot of people are upset that Hangman won this match. And listen, I understand. If you are out there and you are frustrated about Hangman being the number one contender for the AEW World Championship and getting the match with MJF, because we all knew MJF was going to win going into this show. Um, I get it. I get your frustration. He's been in the world title picture for basically 10 months now since the Owen, because he was in the Owen Hart Cup tournament to wrestle for the world championship at All In. So he's been in the world championship picture since literally May of last year. So it's been 10 months of Hangman Page in the world championship picture, Hangman Page main eventing pay per views. I understand your frustration. I do. But I don't know how you could be upset or you didn't see it coming. You had to have seen it coming. Number one, Hangman basically costed MJF that eliminator match against Brody King. So they planted the seeds right there. And number two, the story is right there too. A year ago, these guys opened up Revolution of 2025. A year later, they're going to be closing the pay per view for the AEW World Championship. And you also have the story that MJF has never beaten Adam Hangman Page. He's 0-2 against Adam Hangman Page. And they had their last bout at Forbidden Door for the AEW World Championship. So the story was right there. But if you're frustrated that Hangman is getting another world title match on pay per view, I understand your frustration. I do understand your frustration. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I'm upset because personally, I'm not upset about it. I'm looking forward to see how they build to this match, but I do understand your frustration. I do. So, but my biggest takeaway of that whole show was the Kyle Fletcher Mark Briscoe match. I mean, that was a fucking banger. They literally went out there and they wanted to kill each other in this Game 7 match. I cannot remember a ladder match in AEW that has been so brutal and violent since probably the Death Triangle Elite Best of 7 for the trios titles. They had one hell of a ladder match to end that 7-match series. So, I cannot remember. I literally cannot remember a ladder match that good in AEW since that one. So this is up there with one of the better ladder matches in AEW history. These guys went out there, they absolutely killed it. What a week for Kyle Fletcher. He has a fantastic match on Wednesday against Tommaso Ciampa, the best match of the year so far, to win back the TNT Championship. And 3 days later, he goes back to his home country of Sydney, Australia, to wrestle Mark Briscoe in a ladder match, and they had a fucking banger. So it's been an outstanding week for Kyle Fletcher. So before we get into the show, I appreciate you guys joining me. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel, okay? And if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the Monday Night Raw review. We got AEW from this week. We got SmackDown from Friday. I had kind of a rant in the beginning about Cody Rhodes winning a qualifying the Elimination Chamber. And I was very upset about that. I thought that match should have went to Jacob Fatu. There are different ways to get Cody Rhodes in the title match at WrestleMania. They did not have to put him in Elimination Chamber, but if you guys haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. 2 of them will be up in the last 20 seconds of this podcast. All you have to do is click on it, and it'll take you right to the review. But of course, don't do that till you've watched the entirety of this podcast. Okay. Let's dive into this because we got a lot to talk about. Takeshita and Jon Moxley was the first match on the show. This was the match I was most looking forward to the most on this show. These guys were exchanging chops very early onto the show, into the match, so they were bringing it. Takeshita took a book out of Jon Moxley's playbook, took a move out of Jon Moxley's playbook, with the scratching of the back, like to dig your nails into the opponent's back and just dig down as viciously as possible. So Takeshita went into that playbook. Exploder suplex by Takeshita, which turned into a running knee. Takeshita went for a running knee again, but Jon Moxley reversed it into a bulldog choke. Takeshita reversed it into a choke. These guys were reversing chokes, and crowd was getting into it. And Moxley hit the Death Rider DDT, and Takeshita kicked out. And when Takeshita kicked out of the Death Rider, I'm like, I think this is going to a draw. Because I thought Moxley was going to win and retain this match. And that's exactly what happened. Last 30 seconds was the best 30 seconds. The ring announcer announces there's 30 seconds left in the match. Both guys are sitting in the corner. The crowd starts rising to their feet when Takeshita stands up. Moxley with a big clothesline. Takeshita kicks out at 1. Takeshita, he hits a big forearm onto Moxley, and Moxley kicks out at 1. And then Takeshita, knee strike to the back of Moxley's head, and Moxley kicks out. Takeshita tries to lift up Jon Moxley for the Raging Fire, and the bell rings. So, The bell rings. The match ends in a draw. And Jon Moxley is a pro's pro. He fucking gets it. So the crowd is booing the finish, right? The crowd obviously hates it because they don't want to see a time limit draw in a title match. So Jon Moxley goes over to the referee. The referee comes over to Jon Moxley, and he's basically calling an audible that him and Takeshita are going to get face to face, and Takeshita has to lay him out, and because this crowd is not reacting well to this at all. And then the referee goes and tells Takeshita, and these guys stand up. They get face to face. Takeshita hits a forearm and a raging fire onto Jon Moxley, and it got a pop. So Jon Moxley, he knows exactly what the fuck he's doing, and he just gets it, man. Because, you know, bad reaction. How can we get a positive reaction? Have Takeshita stand tall. So they had a great match. They had a really great match. Ended in a draw. And at the end of it, I felt like they left meat on the bone. Even though they had a great match, I'm like, they left some meat on the bone. So I feel like they're going to run this back again. It'll either be on Dynamite or Revolution because, they've been having some big matches on Dynamite lately. Christ, they're running Swerve versus Kenny Omega Wednesday night on Dynamite. So they could do this on Dynamite. They could wait to do this again at the pay-per-view. But I do think they're gonna have another match for the Continental Championship because it was a great match, yes. But at the end of it, I felt like they left meat on the bone, and maybe they did that by design. So, great match to kick off the show, and it went downhill for a little bit. We had Mega Bad, Penelope Ford, and Megan Bayne against the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale. And, I didn't think this was all the best. And my criticism's not towards the match. It's basically the end of the match. This wasn't the best match, okay? Clearly it's not over because the Babes of Wrath won with a backslide roll-up. Willow hits a move onto Megan Bayne on the outside. I can't remember what it was. But Harley rolls up Penelope for the win. And then after the match, Lena Cross comes into the ring and she lays out Penelope Ford, and Mega Bayne spears Willow. Mega Bayne and Penelope Mega Bayne and Penelope hold up the tag team titles, and Mega Bayne's also holding up the TNT title. This was one of the most underwhelming debuts ever in AEW. First of all, I don't know who Lena Cross is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know who this is. I know all about her. I don't, okay? So I'm just going to have to watch her and learn more about her as we go on AEW TV, okay? I don't know who she is. Excalibur was... I felt like even he was shocked. He's like, I believe that's Lena Cross. Like, he wasn't enthusiastic about it. And I don't know. It just felt like the way Excalibur delivered it on commentary made me feel like, why should I not care about this moment? And I don't know if it was the lower volume, but I did not think the commentary was all that good on this show. Like, you compare this commentary on this show to SmackDown, and granted, I thought SmackDown was a really bad. I thought SmackDown sucked on Friday. But Joe Tess was losing his absolute mind on commentary during that triple threat match in the main event. That's how it's done, man. He was absolutely losing his mind, selling the effects of that triple threat match with Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn. And we listened to this, and it's a complete 180. And it didn't even felt like she was the vocal point, because it's basically like, hey, Megan and Penelope, they're still going after the tag team titles, and now Megan's going after Willow's TBS title. It's not like Lena held up the TBS title. She didn't hold up a title at all. And there was also another debut in AEW today in their house show that I'm not all too thrilled about. The Inspiration, the former Iconics, are all elite. Casey Lee and Jessica McKay, they are in AEW. And I know they went to TNA for a little bit after they got released by WWE. And I don't watch TNA. So it's been years since I've watched these ladies. And when I watched them in WWE, my gosh, they were some of the worst television in the entire company. I did not enjoy them at all. I did not find them funny. I did not find them entertaining. And they both sucked as wrestlers. So, AEW claims to be the company where the best wrestle. So now we're going to see how much they've improved. Because I can't sit here and pretend like I've been watching them in TNA, because I haven't. And, I'll see how much they improved since they left WWE. But I'm not really excited about these signings. It's more crowded now in the women's division, with Lena joining Megan, Bain, and Penelope, and then the Inspiration. The Inspiration, they're coming in for the tag team division. They are a legit tag team. So I feel like they will be the tag team champions in no time. I give it 5-6 months, and they will be the tag team champions. So Andrade and Adam Page was the next match. They had a really good match. I didn't enjoy it more than the opener, but I still found it to be a very solid match. Hangman won, of course. The referee got distracted by Don Callis, so Hangman still went for the buckshot, and Andrade went for the low blow behind the referee's back. Hangman caught him, delivered his own low blow, hit Andrade with the buckshot, and that was the way that match ended. And it was good. It wasn't wild. It wasn't insane. It wasn't like the match Andrade had with Swerve a couple weeks ago. But again, like I said in the opener, you were an absolute fool if you had full expectations going into this match that Andrade was going to win. You're an idiot if you believe that. So Hangman wins. Hangman's getting the world title match. And, we got 4 more weeks until Hangman gets this match. So they got 4 weeks to build this match up the best way they possibly can and to tell their story. And I do think they're going to have a good story going into the match. And also I like that they're getting this MJF Hangman program out of the way now, because there are better challengers down the line for MJF. This title reign is not going to end anytime soon. There's no chance MJF is losing this title to Adam Page. Adam Page has been in the world title picture for 10 months now. Okay? We've got to get other people shots. So, I will let them tell their story. I will let them build this match, but I'm telling you guys, there are better challengers. And there will be better challengers in this reign of MJF. And I do think at some point this year, Andrade is going to get a world title match. I just don't know when. So, Hangman wins. Pretty solid match. And we moved on to Orange Cassidy and Toni Storm versus Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. And I was definitely not excited about this match going into it. I didn't really care for it. It was very predictable what was going to happen. Wheeler Yuta was going to get his hair cut. He was going to go bald. And, that's exactly what happened. But the story of this match is him not going bald. It is the amount of encounters that Wheeler Yuta had with Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy had with Marina Shafir. And they definitely brung up intergender wrestling a lot on commentary in this match. So I will break this match down for you guys. So Yuta and Shafir are coming out through the crowd, and Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy are like, fuck this, we're going to go brawl. And Yuta takes care of Orange Cassidy, and then he goes over to help Marina with Toni, and Wheeler Yuta gives Toni Storm a pile driver onto one of the equipment boxes, and that started it. That was just the beginning, which was honestly probably the most insane spot in this match, was that pile driver onto the equipment box. And, they did the whole angle where Toni's not clear. They got to take her to the back. So it's basically 2-on-1 for a little bit. It's Marina and Wheeler Yuta against Orange Cassidy. And they come back from the commercial break. And Toni Storm comes back out, gives Wheeler Yuta the low blow. She is giving Marina Shafir suplex after suplex, and she's giving her a third suplex. And then Orange and Toni start dancing. I'm like, okay. All right, get to the point. Then later, Toni had Wheeler in the chicken wing, and Marina had Orange Cassidy in the ankle lock. And Marina is yelling at Wheeler Yuta, don't tap, please, please. I'm like, why the fuck would you care? If he taps out, he's the one getting his hair shaved, not you. Why the hell would you care? He thought about it, too. Like, she was getting pinned, and he stood there for a minute. Like, should I break it up? And he broke it up. He broke up the pinfall. So, why the fuck would you care if he gets his hair shaved? Because you're not getting your hair shaved. So, we get to the end. And Toni runs wild, and she hits the hip attack on Wheeler Yuta. And the crowd goes crazy for that. And they take out Marina. Marina's taken out already. Orange punch to Wheeler Yuta. Storm 0 to Wheeler Yuta. And Toni Storm pins Wheeler Yuta. And Yuta's like, no, fuck this. I'll cut my own hair. I'm not doing it right here. I'm not letting you morons. So they have Toni, Orange Cassidy, Mina Shirakawa getting revenge because Wheeler Yuta cut a piece of her hair on Dynamite, and um, Luther. Luther's out there dressed up as a barber, and as Wheeler's about to leave, Jon Moxley comes up behind him, and he's like, You're gonna go get your hair shaved. You agreed to this stipulation." We couldn't hear what they were saying, but basically I could assume he was saying, "You're gonna go get your hair shaved. You agreed to this stipulation. You lost, so now you gotta go get your hair shaved." And they just have a shot of Moxley when he's getting his hair cut. And oh my god, it was priceless. It's like he's like in disgust. He's in absolute disgust with Wheeler Yuta. And Mina's cutting his hair with scissors. And Tony Storm is cutting his hair with scissors. Orange Cassidy takes the razor to shave his head. And then Luther takes the razor to shave his head. So they shave the top of his head bald, but the back of the head and like the sides, it still has his long hair. So I'm guessing we'll see it Wednesday night, but it was fine. I didn't think it was as good as most of the wrestling community thought it was. I thought it was fine. I will say this though. This is probably AEW being more open up to intergender wrestling, and we're probably going to see a lot more of this in 2026, where we have these matches and the guys are wrestling with the girls, and I think this set the tone that we are going to see more of this in AEW this year, because this is absolutely something that this would never happen in WWE. This would never happen. I think the last time something like this happened in WWE was WrestleMania 34 when it was Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. So, it seems like AEW is open to it. Most of the fans loved it. I thought it was fine. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't crazy. But we're gonna see more of this in 2026. That's my guess. But I just hope this goddamn storyline's over, because conglomeration, Tony Storm, Death Riders, it's been too long. That's the problem with wrestling nowadays, is we just drag things out for too long, where it's ran its course, and promoters don't know when to move on. When it's time to move on, it's time to move on. So, all right. Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe. TNT Championship. This match was freaking... What a banger. What a banger. Like I said earlier in the intro, this was my biggest takeaway of the night. This was no question match of the night. No question about it. These guys laid it all out. It wasn't like a long ladder match. It felt like maybe a 15-minute ladder match. But God, for the time that they had, they absolutely went out there and they absolutely killed themselves. So there's a ladder set up on the outside. Briscoe standing right on top of it. Kyle Fletcher comes onto the ring apron, throws Mark Briscoe onto the ring apron, and his leg hits the top rope. He is fucking lucky that leg did not get stuck, because if that's the case, something seriously bad could have happened to that. And then Fletcher hits a moonsault off the ladder to the floor. All right. And then, honestly, This might have been the most sickest spot of the whole match. There is a ladder draped over the top turnbuckle, and Kyle Fletcher has Mark Briscoe on his shoulder, and he just runs him into that ladder face first. And my God, I had to go back and watch it 2 more times. That spot was crazy. Face first into the goddamn ladder. And that busted open Kyle Fletcher. Oh no, that busted open Mike Briscoe. And then Briscoe got the upper hand before commercial. And Briscoe hit Kyle Fletcher with a ladder. And that busted open Kyle Fletcher. So both guys are drawing blood in this match. We get back from commercial break. Briscoe is laying it in on Kyle Fletcher. Big boot to the face. Kyle Fletcher is draped over the ladder. And Briscoe goes to the top rope. Hits a froggy bow onto Kyle Fletcher, who's laying on the ladder. Ladder did not break, but that was still a really nice spot. What did break, though, was Kyle Fletcher catching Mark Briscoe, or stopping Briscoe from climbing the ladder to go get the TNT title. And he just takes him, and there's a ladder hung up from the second rope onto the ring canvas. He just takes him, and he just fucking powerbombs him through this ladder. And that ladder snapped in half. But that wouldn't be the first ladder that broke, because then, moments later, Kyle's going to get the TNT title. Mark Briscoe stops him. They get all the way to the turnbuckle where there's another ladder draped right behind them. And Mark Briscoe hits a J Driller onto Kyle Fletcher, and they go through this fucking ladder. Absolute insanity. Fucking insanity. And Mark is going to get the TNT title, but Kyle Fletcher stops him. They're both. This was the scariest spot of the match. You thought the face first to the ladder was bad. You thought the J Driller through the ladder was bad. This is the scariest spot of the whole match. They are on the tippy top of this ladder. I've seen videos of fans live. They popped the fuck out of this. They went absolute apeshit for this. Kyle Fletcher hits an avalanche brainbuster from the top, I'm talking tippy top of the ladder, onto Mark Briscoe, onto the ring canvas. That was insane. That was I don't think I've seen anything like that in a ladder match in my life. And Kyle Fletcher goes up and he retrieves the TNT championship. And he retains. And what they didn't show on the broadcast is Kyle Fletcher has a new pink TNT championship to match his in-ring gear. And every wrestler, basically, who becomes TNT champion gets a customized TNT championship for themselves. And this one is pink. Match was awesome. I don't know what else to say. I don't know where we're going here. I hope this leads back to another Tommaso Ciampa Kyle Fletcher match at the pay-per-view. Kyle Fletcher is better than the TNT championship. And that is very much evident watching the match with Ciampa this week, watching this match against Mark Briscoe. Kyle wins the 7-match series 4-3. Hopefully, They don't wrestle each other again for a very, 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 very long time. I don't want to see these guys in the ring against each other at all this year. I do, however, when you say like wrestling soulmates, these guys are professional wrestling soulmates. They are that good together. They are that freaking good. So Kyle Fletcher retains, and we get to the main event: MJF and Brody King for the AEW World Championship. And there were very loud "fuck ice" chants in the beginning of the match. So that was expected. And it was going to be very hard for these guys to follow up that ladder match. Even though it's the main event, following that match that just happened, it was going to be very hard. And to their credit, I thought they had, for the amount of time they had a lot of time. They had a lot of time in that match. For what they did, I thought it was very good. My biggest criticism of this match, I don't know if it's the way it came off on TV, but listening to that match and watching that match, it felt like this match was taking place in a library. It felt very quiet in that arena in Australia. And watching it on TV, it felt like it was taking place in a fucking library. That's how quiet it was. Bandito came out to try to hype up Brody King and try to cheer on Brody King. Brody King did get a close near fall on him. He got a very close near fall with the Gonzo bomb. He sold his left knee the entire match, so he couldn't do the suicide full effectively. He couldn't do his running cannonball full effectively. He went for something at the end. I can't remember what it was. But MJF forearmed him in the face, hit the Heat Seeker, and retained the AEW World Championship it was a very good match. It was a good match. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was a good match. I would say it was a very good match. And afterwards, Hangman came out, stared down MJF, signed the contract, laid the contract in the middle of the ring. And as we go off the air, we get the graphic that Hangman and MJF are going to go face to face Wednesday on Dynamite, live from Sacramento, California. So that was Grandslam from Australia. I thought the debut of Lena Cross was very underwhelming. I did not like that at all. I thought the commentary wasn't good on this show. The crowd, at points, maybe it was because of the way it was coming off on TV, the crowd sounded very quiet. Everything else I thought it was good. So, at the end of the day, I thought it was a really good show, and this was a great week for AEW. This was an awesome week for AEW, and now we are at the home stretch to Revolution. We got 4 weeks left until the pay-per-view on March 15th, and, it is nice to have this show in the middle between World's End and the Revolution show, because 2.5 months is a very long time to wait for a pay-per-view. So to have a show like this in the middle, even though the past couple weeks, the last 3 weeks, Dynamite has been fucking great. It's nice to have a show like this in between the pay-per-view, where it's felt like a mini pay-per-view a couple weeks before Revolution. So that is all I got for you guys today. And I will be back. We have Raw tomorrow. We have AEW on Wednesday. And we have SmackDown on Friday. So simple, easy week. And I will see you guys tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on AEW Grand Slam Australia. Hit the like button if you liked you heard from me. And follow me on Twitter, Conlon_Joseph. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. Peace.